Hey, River family, it's so good to see you again. We had such a good time at our party this week, and we just want to spend a little bit of time talking about kind of the reason for the season, and about what this holiday means, and sometimes what different aspects of this holiday represent.
Definitely. I mean, we know that Jesus is the reason,
Yeah.
right? We make it about Jesus' birth, the fact that he came and was born and was here for us, right? He came for us because of love, and then he died for us because of love, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
That being said, the original plan of Christmas, right? This holiday had nothing to do with Jesus.
For sure. Yeah.
Way, way, way back when. But it has for now hundreds of years been related to that. And so we just wanted to touch on that and be honest about it, because we don't want to pretend that it's always been about Jesus. And we know that like Jesus wasn't actually born in the winter, most likely, and that the reality of history is important to know, and the reality of the origins is important to know, but not more important than Jesus, or the fact that like we are participating in these traditions, these culturally fun and interesting things that you do around the holidays, because it brings family together, because it allows us to be intentional with our mindsets to honor Jesus, worship God, and set aside time to be with family and to go back to like what is our reason for the season, even if the original reason wasn't that.
For sure. I mean, I think something that's super important for us to grab onto is this idea that every day is a day that the Lord has made.
Right.
Whether it's Halloween, at Halloween time we had the kids dress up and we had a costume contest and gave them some candy. And some people could see that as a negative, right? Because we're having kids dress up. And what does that mean? And representing other cultures and all these other different things. And Christmas time, what does a Christmas tree have to do with Jesus? And
right.
Or even December, right? And then we could talk about Easter. And most holidays in Easter are celebrating bunnies and chickens and new life
eggs,
and all the eggs. And like, what does any of this have to do with Jesus? And then we have to remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. And today, December 25th or Thursday mean whatever you and the Lord determine they mean.
Right. And it's also really important that like our stance is always that like what we say with authority, with Jesus, with Holy Spirit, is always far greater than anything the enemy could do. And so any sort of root of paganism, of evil that could be related to a tradition, to a symbol or something, that door can only be opened if you give it power, if you decide that it is. But if you stand there with Jesus, then you're always going to be pure, holy, set apart, and be okay, because it's his day, he's Lord, he's more powerful, and you get to partner with that. And so if there is any fear, set aside fear and pick up love, right? And that's what we're going to do as we celebrate as a family every year.
Yeah, I want you to remember that trees were made by the Lord.
Right.
I want you to remember that God said, let there be light. I want you to remember that the Jewish calendar is literally full of festivals and celebrations.
Yes.
I want you to remember that God's heart and his passion is that we do things intentionally, regularly, almost as tradition, as a group and as a family, to remember who he is and what he's done. And to be honest, one of the most powerful things that he's done, outside of Jesus dying on the cross for us, was sending Jesus to begin with.
Right.
And
Jesus being fully man, being carried in Mary's womb and being born. And so, of course, we should have a day set aside when we celebrate that.
And so, December 25th is just a day. And in fact, depending on where you are in the world, it might be a day that represents something crazy. Mm-hmm. But for us, in this family, in this house, December 25th represents the day that God gave us his son.
Yeah.
The day that God chose to send his most precious thing to us so that we could begin this process of reconnecting with his heart.